Okay, so this is a presentation on how you make some ISK while you're deployed. It's a very amazing PowerPoint and obviously incredibly professional. You can tell I do this for a living. So we're out there on deployment and you're going to find out you've got absolutely no money. You've bought all your ships, you've died, that's taking ages on the SRP, and you're just really, really desperate to buy that second Caracal, you just need to make some money. So you're on deployment, you're in space, there's rats just there. Can you just kill those rats? Deployments are often places with really high BRMs. Unfortunately, you can't. There is no ratting to be done in blue space while we're on deployment. We're staying on people's couches and we do not want to piss them off. So don't fucking do it. There are some side points. Next up, you can get to Pochfin. This is a def clone deployment, and most deployments we do of this nature will be def clone deployments. So you've got to set your def clone. You just got to get a shuttle from the station. We're going to seed a load of shuttles. We're going to seed a load of filaments. If you've got some friends, take your friends, take the shuttle, go to a filament spot, filament into Pochfin. Job done. You've got a def clone, so if you need to be back for a fight, just get into the Fortizar, or even just self-destruct in space if you're too far away from the Fortizar, and you can be straight back into the war zone immediately. Seeding is an okay way to make money. This is a smaller deployment than the big alliance ones, so seeding is slightly more difficult. But the same rules apply for all seeding. If you want to know a bit more about that, just make sure you ask one of the more experienced industry guys, and they'll give you a read on what they think might be a good idea to bring down. But essentially, if you notice something's getting used a lot and we're struggling to keep up with the numbers of ships we're losing, or the ammo, or any bubbles, etc., 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 bring some down, put them on contract, tell people about it, and they'll most likely buy them off you. Looting, so you can loot ships. That's absolutely fine. If FCs are doing a roam where they've handed out ships, they might want to cover their costs, so they might ask for a shiny loot if it drops. But other than that, pretty much membership, just grab stuff. Make sure you're being industrious with that kind of thing. If we fight Cerberuses and we lose a few and they lose a lot and we hold the grid, we probably want to loot all of theirs and make sure we've got all the spare rockets and missiles and good bits from those. This isn't going to help you, though. You're still going to be really poor. You're still basically going to have sim levels of ISK at this stage, unless you've managed to get in your shuttle and go to Pochfin and earn ridiculous money. It's my little meme. Loot some cats. Definitely loot cats. So just in the same way you would with Pochfin, all you need to do to get home is get a shuttle and fly there. The worst case scenario in Eve is like 70 jumps, 80 jumps in a shuttle. It's still only going to take you like 25, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, half an hour. I don't know, 80 jumps is probably a bit extortionate. That's probably more like an hour. But, there are routes. We'll find you routes. We'll find you wormholes. If you really want to get home constantly every single day and do your crab beacons or whatever, there'll be ways to do that. And if you've got your def clone set up, well, you know the answer. Get out that pistola, shoot yourself in the head, and you're back in the war. So, grey areas. So we potentially are going to be going and doing ADM work. ADM work is where you kill rats or you mine, and it raises the difficulty of doing things like capturing structures and changing the iHub in the system. Obviously, you might make some money on that. Our haulage services are going out mostly with stuff and coming back reasonably empty. If you do end up with a bit of stuff from ADM work, maybe you got a load of ore that you maybe can't compress or whatever, maybe some Coxit, or you've maybe got some nice loot, they will be spacing those couriers back. I don't know whether there'll be special rates going back or anything like that, but it is something to consider that you can get stuff out of there. If you've gained some items, maybe you've killed a hauler and it's full of items, and it costs you 50% to get it back. Well, it's 50% of the money that you're going to gain when it gets there, compared to zero if you just leave it there. We're on deployment. We're not going to be there forever. You can try and sell things to the locals, but it's going to be difficult. Even in a deployment where it might be easier with the locals, it's still usually a bit of a challenge to find a buyer. Exploration is actually a really good one. If you want to be useful and make money at the same time, go out and scan down all the sites in the hostile systems, find the wormholes, find the data sites, run them, make sure they can't run them. If they aren't making any money in their own space, they're not going to stay there. If you can find wormholes through to high sec, low sec, null sec, even if they're to bad areas for us, like more of their enemy space, it's useful information. Let us know. All of this kind of information is really useful. So the more information we've got, the better prepared we can be, and we can set traps. We can do all sorts of things like that. Wormholes as well, unknown wormholes, C1s to C3s will have pirate and relic data sites in them. Again, if you feel like it's a safe bet to run them, if you feel like that particular wormhole's not got too much going on in it, then run them. Bring the loot back, get the couriers to take it back home for you. That is it, guys. Very simple, very quick. So make some money, don't be poor.